Maybe the greatest 10-year turnaround in college football history. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, previewing and predicting the entire season. We're going through the entire Power 5, and we are previewing the team. So not just giving you a record with no substance to back it up, but personnel breakdowns, advanced metrics to back up our projection for 2018. We have started in the Pac-12 and remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. That keeps the engine rolling and helps out our channel as we deliver for you the best college football coverage online. I'm talking about the Stanford Cardinal. It's been remarkable what has happened there in Palo Alto. In 2006, they were the joke of college football, finishing 1-11. Jim Harbaugh took over. He pulled off the historic upset of USC as a 41-point underdog. They still went 4-8 in 2007. 1-11. Just let that sink in. 1-11 in 2006. And over the last 10 years, they have finished in the top 10 6 times since then. 4 division championships and 3 Pac-12 championships. And they are consistently in the top 10 to 15 in the nation. Actually, if you look at how well the team has played, beyond just the win-loss percentage to the results on the field in regards to the advanced metrics, the S&P Plus since 2010, the last 8 college football seasons, the top 6 teams in the nation are Alabama number 1, Ohio State number 2, Clemson 3, LSU 4, Florida State 5, Stanford 6. All right, let's focus on 2018. We give credit for the past 10 years, but let's focus on 2018 because now the expectations are every year to compete for Pac-12 championships, and Stanford did just that in 2017, but they still lost 5 games, but due to the respect of the schedule and their performance, they still finished in the top 20 in the nation despite 5 losses. Okay, they've got 8 starters back on offense, including this guy who's really likable. I like his last name. Yeah, he's the most explosive, powerful, explosive back. When I say powerful, I mean in terms of impact of big plays in college football. And hobbled around on one ankle during the latter portion of 2017, Bryce Love. His performance in the Pac-12 championship game and what he was able to do in breaking long runs against a very good TCU defense in the Alamo Bowl, otherworldly. 2,118 yards rushing, 19 touchdowns, and he is back and hopefully healthy for all 12, 14, 15 games. He's not the problem. The problem might be a quarterback, and it's not a disastrous situation, but you've got the hotshot coming in, Davis Mills, and maybe he challenges for the position. KJ Costello has been good at times, very good at times, too inconsistent. He's a 59% completion percentage guy, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, so he didn't turn it over much through the air. The 4 top receivers for the Cardinal, all back, including J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. He caught 9 touchdowns on 48 receptions. You got Trenton Irwin with 43 catches, and then 2 excellent tight ends, and that's the trademark of Stanford's offense, the big offensive line, and the tight ends that go on and play in the NFL. Like a Kobe Fleener. Zach Ertz. Well, Caden Smith is the latest guy. 23 catches last year with 5 touchdowns. They also have Kobe Parkinson, who came in as a prized recruit. He had 10 catches but produced 4 touchdowns on just the 10 receptions. So their numbers, these 2 guys are going to shoot up, I believe, this year. Stanford's offensive line is typically near great. It should be the same in 2018. They bring back 4 all Pac-12 performers, not all on the first team, but somewhere in the first, second, or third team, led by Nate Herbig, who was on the first team. And also then you've got the freshman All-America Walker Little. Cameron Scarlett, we failed to mention him. He will back up Bryce Love, and he proved to be very prominent in the running game, of course, because Love would break off a big run or he would get sandwiched and his ankle twisted, would have to leave the game for 3 or 4 plays. And again, Cameron Scarlett, a very productive backup running back. All right, the difference in Stanford in losing 5 games last year was the defense. The defense was not up to Stanford standard. They gave up way too many big plays. It was still a really good, talented defense in spots. The defensive front was not good, and that's usually what they have, is a defensive front, linebackers that are extremely good in the front seven. When they were winning Rose Bowls, that's what they did, was just clog up the run and make life miserable on running games. Okay, they weren't able to do that last year. They've lost some really good players, including just the monster up front, the beast, the mountain man, Harrison Phillips, one of the best in the business. So they're going to be thin up front in 2018. The linebackers are pretty well stacked, led by Bobby Okereke. He had 88 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss. He's been a very productive player, one of the best in college football in the linebacking core. Secondary, decent, gave up way too many big plays, as I mentioned, but you've got Elijah Holder, who could be one of the best in the Pac-12 if he could just stay on the field. He's constantly banged up. So Stanford, to its credit and to its advantage, plays a 2-4-5 base defense. So only 2 defensive linemen on the field. That's where they're hurting. That's where they're thin. That's fine. They're better in the linebacking core, and they've got 4 of those guys on the field. They're going to have to come up with a number of defensive backs, and because of the 2-4-5 scheme, most of those defensive backs come from the safety or slot positions and can support the run and have to be those kind of players. All right, the kicker has to be mentioned. He is Jet Toner. I love the name. I can't come up with a good name. I can't come up with a good nickname. He doesn't need a nickname. He's Jet Toner. I couldn't come up with a good pun or a good play off of it. If you can believe it, just leave that in the comments section. 21 of 26 last year, and he's going to be counted upon. As Stanford is typically the type of good team that doesn't blow out a ton of people, and they play some close games. So they need the kicking to be there. All right, the non-conference schedule is typically tough. Last year, they lost at San Diego State. They won versus Notre Dame, an impressive, maybe the most impressive showing of the season for Stanford, winning 38-20 against the Irish. Now this year, they get San Diego State at home, minus Rashad Penny. They go to Notre Dame, so flip those results. They do lose the one non-conference game. I believe they're going to lose the 2 road games that are pivotal in the Pac-12 North Division. That would be at Washington, at Oregon. So it all adds up to 9-3, 7-2. 9-3 for Stanford, 7-2 in Pac-12 play. How does that shake out? Well, we got to stay tuned for Washington. We're coming up with the Huskies after this. Want to hear your Stanford predictions and see them in the comments section as well as you like, comment, and subscribe right here on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.